What's going on, YouTube fam? Today we're going to be talking about what you need to know about the book editing process, and we're going to go through a live breakdown of the cost, a range of the cost of what you can expect if you decide to work with a professional editor before you self-publish. My name is Andrea, the word engineer, a former engineer turned freelance book editor living in Mexico. I help aspiring authors and solopreneurs write, edit, and market their books to help them build their personal brand as well as their author brand. Okay, so I got inspired to make this video after watching a couple of videos, one by a YouTuber named Alyssa, and her title was called The Ultimate Guide to the Book Editing Process, and another video by the Self-Publishing School. I think it was called Editing 101, but don't worry, I'll drop it in the description so you can check them out for yourself. They go in depth about the process a bit more than I do. I'm just going to give you a brief overview, and then we're going to go into the full cost breakdown of what you need to know in the book editing process. Okay, so the first stage is developmental editing, right? So a developmental editor focuses on your overall structure, your content, as well as the organization of your book, right? So this editor is not really focused on the grammar or any of your typos. You likely won't have any edits from a developmental editor within your manuscript. However, they will provide you with comments about maybe you need to restructure a section, or maybe you need to add more information or more content to a particular section, right? So this is what a developmentor offers, is an overall big picture of your content, okay? And the next stage is a line editor. This editor is mostly focused on your prose, your sentences, your line by line edits, hence, line editor. So this editor is going to focus on your word choice. They're going to focus on your sentence structure. They're going to focus on your author voice. So this is why it's important for the editor to know your genre and who your target audience is. Say, for example, you're writing a book for teen girls versus a business book. The jargon and the language that you use is going to be completely different. So this is more so what a line editor focuses on, and they're also not focused on your grammar. They're not really focused on the typos, your punctuation errors. That's not their main focus, and that's usually not what you're going to find a line editor do. So the next stage, which is who will focus on your grammar, is a copy editor. So that's more so what I'm specialized in. I'm specialized in copy editing and proofreading. So a copy editor focuses on your grammar, your spelling, your syntax, your punctuation. I like to call it the 3 C's, which is clarity, coherence, and consistency, right? Clarity, coherence, and consistency is what you will get with a copy editor. So this editor will provide the inline edits within your manuscript. And they usually, if they're using Word, which is what I like to use a Word document when I provide my copy editing service. They will use track changes, and within track changes you can see all the edits that they make, and also you have the capability to accept any of the changes that the editor makes, or you can reject the change. So it gives you a bit more flexibility of your story, right? So you don't have to accept everything an editor changes. And make sure you do check what the editor changes here, because there may be key points that you want inside your manuscript that the editor may accidentally take out. So definitely always check your manuscript after a copy editor works on it. And then the last stage is proofreading, which I also offer proofreading as well. Proofreading, so this stage is so you've already had your book. It's gone through all the different stages. It's gone through developmental editing, line editing, copy editing. It's likely gone through formatting as well. You've had your book formatted, and now it's either in a PDF file or EPUB file. So in this particular stage, the proofreader is going to catch those last minute typos. They're going to make sure the structure is right, make sure the formatting is accurate and that it's consistent, just to make sure it's nice and pristine and as error-free and perfect as it can be before it goes through publication. So those are the main stages of what you need to know in the book editing process if you plan to self-publish. So yeah, let's go through the cost breakdown next. The Editorial Freelancers Association, and we're going to go to their rate chart. So you can just type in EFA rates, and this will give you the a baseline of what you can expect if you're working with a professional editor, okay? So let's go check out their rates. And this rate calendar was actually just updated this year. This year, I believe, maybe like a month ago, month or two ago. Um, okay, so let's see. So let's look at what did we say? So the first stage of editing, right, is the developmental stage, right? So let's look at the cost for that. So for this example, let's say we are working on a 50,000 word book. So if we're just focusing on fiction, so the range for fiction, as you can see, is a minimum of 3 cents per word, and at the high end is 4 cents. So let me break out my calculator. So for a 50,000 word book, at the low end of 3 cents will be a range of 1,500, and at the high end, so 4 cents times 50,000, it's going to be 2,000. So this is just for fiction, right? So let me add that price fiction. Now let's look at nonfiction. So for nonfiction, move my calculator out the way. Nonfiction, we have it's starting at 4 cents, so we already know that that's $2,000. And for on the high end is 5 cents. So how much would that be? 5 cents times 50,000 word, it's 2,500. Okay, so that's stage one. Let's look at stage two. Stage two, which would be the line edit. So let's check out the price for fiction. So where is line editing? Line editing is here. So for fiction, it's the lower range for this service at 50,000 is two cents. So the car alarm just went off, and so I cut through the video. So now we're back, okay? So we were working on fiction for line editing, yes. So for fiction, it is 0.25 cents, would be 1,250. And on the high end would be 4 cents. I think we did 4 cents already. 50,000, how much was that? It was 2,000, right? I believe it was 2,000. Let's see. 2,000, yes. So this is the range for fiction. And now let's check out, ooh, can I spell? Nonfiction. We'll just do NF for nonfiction. So for nonfiction, we have 3.5 cents, 0.035 times 50,000 is 1,750. 1,750. And at the higher end is 5 cents, so 0.05 times 50,000. And remember, these prices are based on the skill of the editor. So typically, if the price is higher, then the editor is likely more skilled and has more experience. So stage three would be the copy edit stage. So copy edit can be spelled one way, copy edit like that or like that. So I like to spell it like this. So the price for copy editing for fiction, I believe that was up here, right? Yeah. So for fiction is at a minimum at least 2 cents. So that is how much? 1,000 for fiction is 1,000, and then at the higher end is 3 cents. times 50,000 gives you 1,500. And then for nonfiction, that's going to run you 3 cents at the minimum. We just did 3 cents, didn't we? Yeah, so a minimum of 1,500 to 4 cents. I believe that's 2,000. But let's just double check. 2,000. Okay. So let's go to the final stage, which is proofreading. So for the price, proofreading is here. Proofreading is 1.2 cents, 0.012 times 50,000 equals 600 for nonfiction. I mean for fiction. For fiction, it's 600. And for the higher end is 2 cents, which is 1,000. And the price for nonfiction, NF for nonfiction, is 2 cents, which we know 2 cents is 1,000. And the higher end is 3 cents. What was 3 cents? Was it 1,500, I think? Yeah, 1,500. So here we have the prices for fiction and nonfiction for the different stages. And let me make this a little longer so you can see. So for a book with 50,000 words, you have your developmental edit here, your line edit here, your copy edit here, and your proofreading. Now, if you were to do all 4 stages, so let's see, all 4 stages, let's do the range for fiction. Let's see. So we have 1,500 plus 1,250 plus 1,000 plus 600. So at a minimum, you would likely spend 4,350. And at the higher end, let's see, it would be 2,000 plus 2,000 plus 1,500 plus 1,000. So that's 6,500. And let's do nonfiction. Nonfiction, let's see, we have 2,000 plus 1,750 plus 1,500 plus 1,000. So already, if your book is nonfiction, generally you're gonna be paying a higher rate versus fiction. And let's see, on the higher range, we have 2,500 plus 2,500 plus 2,000 plus 1,500. Okay, so that's 8,000. Pull you up a bit. 8,500, right? So this is what you can expect to pay if you're working with professional editors. And this is just for fiction and nonfiction. If you go through EFA's list, the Editorial Freelancers Association list, you can see they have different information for consulting, designing, the different stages of editing, as well as academic, business, and each of these, let's move this out the way. Each of these will give you a different price. And the more specialized the editing service is, for example, academic or legal or medical, is generally going to be a higher cost for the author. So you can take a look at this website. It's here for you guys to check out, just to give you an idea of what you can expect in the publishing process. So yeah, I'm going to share a few, at least one example of when an editor doesn't go through the different stages, or at least the developmental stage. Like sometimes authors will come to me Sometimes authors will come to me and they haven't been through any stages, and I specialize in copy editing. So if you haven't gone through a developmental edit, a lot of the issues that I've run into is that the book will have really poor character development. Maybe the world building isn't there. There's not enough background information on the characters for people to really care who the characters are, to really, get invested in what they're reading. Like it's really challenging if you don't give that background information to your characters to make your audience, make your readers either fall in love with the character or really hate the character, right? What else? And sometimes I find myself as a copy editor having to give advice as a developmental editor, which is, not the service that I'm being paid for, or not the service that I'm providing. But sometimes I have to just to you don't want to when you're working with the author, especially an indie author, you don't want to like throw them out into the wolves without identifying certain key aspects that are missing in their manuscript. So that's what you can expect in the book editing process as far as pricing goes, at least a range. But remember, every editor is different. Some editors may charge a little more, some may charge a little less, but this is just an average or range of what you can expect in the book editing process. What do you think about the cost? Is it what you expected? Is it more than what you expected? Is it less than what you expected? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you like. Make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you check out my last video. If you've been wanting to write a book but you haven't got started, I released a video where I walk you through the process of how you can develop your outline before you start the writing process. So if you haven't got started on your process, check out that video. I'll link it somewhere in the video so you can click on it. All right.